Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, I am OverHugs, and I'd like to welcome you back to Building Bread. Thanks for joining us on the adventure today. What we're doing in this episode is building ourselves a sugarcane farm. For those of you who don't really know, sugarcane's very useful and very versatile. You can use it to build paper. You can use it to make fireworks. You can use it to make sugar, which is required for potions of weakness for our many villagers that we're going to need to cure here. Because you can find it in the wild, you can go out and farm it, but it's usually found in things like this. Just a few, and it grows pretty slowly. So to that, what we're going to do is we're going to build a very large-scale farm. I've come through here and I've cleared out this flat area, which is going to be our sugarcane farm. And this farm is going to also produce a tremendous amount. As you may have noticed, if you have not joined us for the first time today, I like to build big farms. I like to build big farms that produce, like this one. So we're going to be doing something that's a very similar scale over here with our sugarcane. We also are going to need this in order to trade with our enchanters. Like, the librarians that we're going to do are the next row here in our villager trading hall, and they will require a tremendous amount of paper in order to trade with to get up and make sure that we have 100% of the max level enchants that we can get. So why don't we go right ahead and take our super speed potion and get into our time lapse. That took a bit. You might have noticed I tore this out and redid it a couple of times because I didn't like the way the design was coming along. This is what I get for basically thinking, oh, this is a simple design. I don't need to do this in creative or figure it out beforehand. I can totally do it on the fly. I couldn't do it on the fly. So there was a couple of false starts and a couple of redos, but now I am happy with this. And this will be a tremendous amount of sugarcane. Now, there's a couple of different things that I wanted to talk to about this. First off, I didn't finish it. This will be collected via a flying machine, and I've threatened to go over how flying machine works, and I haven't done it. We used flying machine over there in the pumpkin and melon farm in a previous episode, and I didn't explain how it worked then. We used a flying machine when we did the bamboo in our super smelter, and I didn't explain how it was then. Now, today is going to be different because we're going to explain exactly how it works. But also, I don't have a slime farm yet. So I didn't have enough slime blocks in order to make a flying machine. And you would think that would be another episode, but no, because you can also make flying machines out of honey. And that's what basically has been going on over here. I created a little quick impromptu honey farm,
and basically got enough so that I've got a stack of honey blocks so that we're all set. Let this run for a couple of hours, and it was fine. Now, you're looking going, wow, that's a lot of beehives. How far did you go? And the answer is nowhere, because this is something we haven't really gone into deep detail yet, especially not since I think way back in episode 3. But you can get beehives from planting either birch trees or oak trees right next to flowers within 1 block of a 1 high flower. And that's exactly what we did. We created this. This is really funky. I feel like I'm in Star Wars or something. Stay on target. Stay on target. But so basically, we went through and just did that and planted a ton of trees until we got enough beehives. And you can see here's one that generated and is now full of honey. But we don't need that anymore. So we went through a bunch of times and got a bunch of beehives and brought them over here, and we're manually harvesting them for a while when I realized it was going to take way too long. So I set up this really simple, basically little contraption in order to do it. And all this does is beehives go from a honey level of 1 to 5. If you go and look over here, it shows you honey level right there. And this will tell you what the honey level is for each individual hive. And we'll look, and this one is 0, and this one is 0, and this one is 0, because we've harvested them all. Over here, this one is 5, because it is full, and you can tell because it's dripping honey, basically. But since it goes between 1 and 5, this means that we can very easily farm it using a comparator. So what we do is we take the comparator, and there's 5 bits of redstone dust here. So since this is a level of 5, this piece of redstone will only be hit when this hive is completely full. That triggers the repeater, that powers this block, that powers this dispenser. And what basically happens is the dispenser will fire, and because it has a bottle in it, it will fill it up with honey, and then it has nowhere to pull back because all these slots are full. So it will drop. And when it drops, it goes into this hopper and then into this chest. And that's how you basically have a very simple automated honey farm. We'll have something more sophisticated later on when we actually need it, because in the 1.17 update, we definitely want to get honey and honeycomb, because honeycomb is going to be used to do both candles and the waxed blocks, like the copper, so that you can lock them into the specific state that you want them. They age through. And if you're curious about this, you can check out the snapshot video that I shot previously, and I'll put a card up now. So that's how we got all the honey that we needed in order to make our flying machine. Now, also, there's a little bit of a different contraption here, where we have created these minecart unloaders that will specifically stop and then unload at a single tick speed in order to go through. So this is just slightly different than things that we've seen before. I don't even remember where I first saw this. I've seen it in tons of different places. It kind of looks Ilmango-y, so it might be his, but I don't know. I want to give credit, but I just don't know. So if anybody knows, let me know. But basically what this will do is, this is the normal detector of a hopper. And we have our minecarts are right back here. I think that we might be able to have a block to stand on anywhere. Glass, that'll work. So basically the way that it goes is the minecart will come in here, and the second the hopper starts draining it, right now that minecart is empty, so it did not stop. But the second that it starts draining, the comparator here will detect it, and it will shut off that redstone torch, which will go through and depower the powered rail right there. And then once this dropper starts getting full, this chain will start going and spitting things out as quickly as it can. Now, the reason why it's built this way is because eventually what we're going to do is we're going to pull these blocks away, because we don't want the hopper minecart going all the time. We want it to fire as soon as we go and do the flying machine, so that it collects everything up as fast as possible. And then after the flying machine has gone all the way over and all the way back with a couple, maybe a minute or so, to make sure that it has the chance to pick up everything, we want to stop it from going back and forth, because all these hopper minecarts will produce a decent amount of lag. And we're already going to have a lot of lag. from all our farmers over here. And it looks like we lost a farmer. Okay, well, that's unfortunate, but we're gonna have... Did he pick up a head? It looks like the zombie picked up a... Oh my gosh, that's the most awesome thing ever. I think we're gonna have to do this with all our zombies now. I think they're all gonna have to pick up heads. That is fantastic. Oh, that is definitely staying in the video. Okay. So, where were we? So yeah, so because this does produce a lot of lag, I want to start reducing lag wherever we can. And that's also why we use this design, because this design doesn't use redstone. Redstone dust, I mean, specifically. And that introduces a decent amount of lag, so we'll make a point not to use it. So that's basically everything that's new here, with the exception of our flying machine. So let's go over the basics of how a flying machine works, and I need my redstone box for that. So let's build the simplest flying machine we can. And basically what you do is you start out with a piston, and you want to put a sticky block, so either a piece of honey or a piece of slime, and then you want to have a sticky piston going in the opposite direction. So once again, add another. We'll just add 2 just to make it a bit clearer. And this is the basics of what a flying machine is and how it works. The final part of it is that you take observers and you point them into the pistons themselves. And this is it. We're done. This is the very basics of a flying machine. So if I go and I activate it by putting something, do I have this? I have something's immovable. Put something immovable right here. Well, so I'll put this on, and there it goes. It's going to take off, and it's going to drag anything with it. Now, you notice we dragged the glass. Some blocks, honey or slime will stick to. Others, they will not. You'll notice that dropper stayed right there, even though it was on top of the honey, but the glass has moved. And so this is where you want to be able to use blocks that will stick versus blocks that won't. Also, it can only move so many blocks. This is why we got to the point here where it hit the wall and stopped. And this follows normal piston rules, where a piston can only move 12 blocks. Once you hit the 13th block, it will fail. It will either be unable to push or unable to pull it when they are attached. So that's the basics of how a flying machine works. So let's set this up again with the maximum number of blocks that it can move, and you'll see exactly how useful this can be. So again, all you have to do is have a piston with one of the blocks that is either a slime block or a honey block. Do the same thing over here. And you can extend at this point. Let's just make our observer. So, oh yeah, this is one of the problems with honey, is you can't jump on it unless you're on the very outside. Like, you notice how I went all the way to the side and then I could jump. But let's put our observers on here just to make the machine. That's not where you go. Come on, you know better than that. You go there. You go there. All right, so that's good, facing the right way. But as you see, this is, as we said, a piston can move a maximum of 12 blocks. And right now, this is 1, 2, 3. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I can do the same thing over on the other side. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And you see how large this flying machine can be. It's basically this enormous thing that anything that it hits, that it can destroy, it will. And that's quite a few things. So we can use this to harvest things like kelp or like sugarcane, hint, hint. And so what I'll do is I'll just show you by making sure that we're using the right observer, because if I triggered this one, it's going to push that way, and that's not what we want. We want to go back towards this wall because I don't feel like trying to catch it. So if we go and we power this one, it'll go towards the wall, and there you go. And you see exactly how it was before it ran into the other observer that we had and just ruined the flying machine, because now we're trying to move too many blocks. So that was a better little demonstration than I even thought it would be. So coming over to our pumpkin and melon farm, I wanted to show our return station. This works by having an observer that detects when the flying machine comes in, which then sends a signal through a repeater and powers this dispenser. The dispenser itself is positioned in such a place where the observer from the flying machine can see it, and when it changes from unpowered to powered, that immediately fires the flying machine back in the opposite direction. There are simpler ways to do it, like basically you could just have an observer with an iron trapdoor that will flap whenever it does it, but I like having a bit more control over it like this. I don't need the exact minimum, and I'm not too worried about the redstone dust here, like I talked about before, causing lag, because this will only be triggered when the flying machine comes over, and right now the farm is completely off, but otherwise we're only doing it like once every 5 minutes, so it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So why don't we go over here and we'll construct our flying machine and we'll see what our first harvest looks like. Just kidding. We haven't built a storage system yet. We still need to do that. This storage system is going to be different from our other ones because this farm is going to overwhelm chests pretty much instantly. I don't remember exactly how many rows of sugarcane we had here, but it's more than a stack. Each one of these is more than a stack. And that is per level. So we're basically going to come in here, and this is going to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. So it's going to harvest 2 and leave the third. So it's going to be 2 stacks per row. Actually, more than that. More than 2 stacks per row as we go over here.
And so each time we run this, it's going to fill a double chest, if not more.
So because of that, and also because of the fact that we're going to want to be able to move a great deal of these over to where the librarians are going to be here, we're going to make this a shulker loader. So what I want to do is I want to be able to have chests full of full shulker boxes that we put in. And that's different than what we've done before. So I'm going to build it, and then I'll come back and I'll explain it.
And here we go. The farm is now fully functional. It's definitely not done. I want to go through and decorate this a bit more so that it looks nicer. Like, for example, the same color of leaves, and we can do more with this. It looks decent. Like, I like how it looks, especially with the lit water and everything, but I want to do more with this. I want to build it more into like the story of this area. Like, why would there just be a strange mass of sugarcane near a concert hall? Like, maybe we'll put some glass over this and we'll turn it into a hedge maze or something like that. But that's for another episode. So what's going on here is very janky redstone. Basically what I have done in order to trigger this once a day at noon is I've hooked this up to a daylight detector, and I'm using 2 comparators, one in subtract mode, so that I can lower the redstone signal, because otherwise this would be a signal of 16 at the middle of the day, 15, 0 to 15, and because of that I would have to stretch this way further out than I want to. So this is kind of janky. I just put some stuff in the furnace itself. So what is going to happen is when this hits noon, it's going to send a signal to each one of the droppers here that the observers are looking at, and that will fire off the flying machine that is underneath it. And it will go down and harvest all of the sugarcane and then hit a return station, which will send it back. What we've done in order to have the minecarts, and again, this is also janky, is that whenever that triggers, this dropper will spit out an item that will land on this pressure plate, which will then engage the minecarts for 5 minutes. Since this is going to be here as long as this item is, it will exactly match the despawn timer of anything on there, and we're guaranteed to collect 100% of the sugarcane. 5 minutes is a long time in Minecraft time. It's half a day. So I don't know if we really want to do that, but that will at least guarantee that this will be 50% as efficient until we actually figure out the redstone contraption. And if we wait a little bit longer, this will tick over and you'll see the whole system in action. The flying machines will go. This will spit out a piece of netherrack, which will be on the pressure plate. It will engage these sticky pistons, which will push the blocks of stone over the redstone torches and engage the hopper minecarts, so they'll go down and collect everything. So as soon as that is done, we can go and check out the storage system. So, and there it goes. You can see that this is harvesting quite well and harvesting all the things that are higher than 1 block.
And because it's honey, they'll kind of push the things down. They'll stick to it a lot. Slime would be ping-ponging these things out 7 or 8 blocks and flinging them across. In a lot of ways, I like honey better because things do slowly come down, and it makes it so that you don't have to worry about losing things as they get tossed all the way across. But it does set up a challenge of the things that are on the top here. And the way that we've solved that is leaves. They'll get scraped off. You'll see, bump, they fall straight down. And that's it. So let's come over and look at the storage system here, which is a shulker box loader. And as you can see in the top, this is just a circle of water, so that just in case we overwhelm the hoppers with our collections and we're getting too much, it'll continue to go around until one of them frees up. But you see that generally doesn't happen. It only makes it over to the second array and doesn't even make it to the third. So all of these arrays point into double chests, and these chests have hoppers below them, which point into a shulker box. And this shulker box will completely fill up. You can see it is filling up right now. And once it's full, what happens is this comparator will detect it's full. And once that happens, it will shoot out a redstone signal, which will power this piston and eject the shulker box and have a delay because of these repeaters to this dispenser, which will put another shulker box in. And I can show you this shulker box unloader working. As you can see, this one is almost full. It only needs another half a stack. And what is going to happen is once that's full, the comparator will detect it, the piston will fire, and then the dispenser there will fire a slight second later and place down another shulker. Bang. There you go. So once again, I wanted to thank you for choosing to spend your time on the adventure with me today. I am OverHugs, and this has been Building Bread. As a reminder, I donate the profits I make off of this to local food banks. So if you've enjoyed or otherwise gotten something of value out of today, I'd really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, or tell a friend. Together, we can help people that are in need. I hope you have the most wonderful of days, and I'll see you soon.